Change my mind on a Monday. We'll start and actually keep it in the NBA, even though we don't get live games back until Thursday. Change my mind. Pete, start with you. You're in the guest chair tonight. The Suns do not have a realistic chance to win the West. Right now at our show sponsor, network sponsor, BetMGM, they are plus 750 to win the West at BetMGM. Suns, no chance. Change my mind, my man.
I'm going to say they do have a chance. It's a slight one. I mean, when you have that much talent on your team, when you have three lethal scorers in Durant, Booker, and Beal, I'm going to always say that you have a chance. With that being said, I don't think it's a very good one. I like Denver way better than them. I like the Clippers way better than them. There's certainly some other teams I could see playing better than Phoenix. It's just, do we really trust the three of those guys to stay healthy throughout an entire playoff run? Do we really think that after one season, when they get into the playoffs, that the cohesion is there and three ball-dominant guys can find the happy medium for when it's each other's turn to take over? I just, especially at the price at plus 750, I get that the talent is there, and it certainly wouldn't surprise anybody if they went on a run just because, again, I mean, when you're talking Beal, Durant, and Booker, you're talking about three of the best scorers on planet Earth. So do they have a chance? Yes, but it is a slight one, and I would not place a futures bet on Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, Peach, because I wouldn't place a futures bet on Phoenix either. They're plus 750. But, I mean, when you have Kevin Durant, when you have Devin Booker, and you have Brad Beal, if he's able to stay healthy, you always have a chance. And they were actually playing pretty good basketball, right? Like, they went into the break with a pair of wins. They're 14-4 since January 11th. That's the other thing, man. Since January 11th, they actually have the best record in the Western Conference at 14-4. They've outscored their opponents by 12.7 points per 100 possessions in the 440 minutes where Brad Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant have been on the floor. They're 14-8 altogether. That's only been a 20-game sample size, and we've done this. I've at least done this with some of these super teams. I did this with the Nets where, okay, when we get to the playoffs, as long as James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant are on the floor, they're going to figure things out. But that's only three dudes. That doesn't really allow the head coach, to figure out the rotations, figure out the defense. So I'll say they have a shot, but I don't know, man. Even looking at their remaining schedule, they actually have the league's toughest remaining schedule. 19 of their 27 games out of the break are against teams with winning records. So I'll say because of the talent, they have a shot, but they wouldn't be my bet. It would be the Nuggets. I'm really high on the Clippers. Obviously, I have the 18-1 future for them, so I still feel better about the Clippers. But with those three guys, with that talent, and Kevin Durant on your team, you always have a chance. So I agree.
Change my mind on a Monday, boys. Keep it in the NBA and keep it with the initial game. SGA should win the MVP. Right now, Jokic, your favorite at minus 140. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at plus 220 at BetMGM. Rye, we'll start with you. SGA should win the MVP. Change my mind.
I'm going to say, yeah, he should win. Like, if the season were to end today, I don't think any of us expected this from the Thunder. We all expected them maybe to be like a top 6 team in the Western Conference, our league pass team. Chet's been better than expected his rookie year, even though it's really his sophomore year, his second year, his medical redshirt year, we'll call it. I like Josh Giddey's game enough. I like Lou Dort as their lockdown defender, but I love Shea. He's the leading scorer on this team. And every year we make the case for the leading scorer, the best player on the 1 seed, to be the MVP. So, yeah, man, I mean, he's averaging over 30 a game. I think he's still really, really underrated. And if you take him off this team, where are they at in the West? And Jokic, I have voter fatigue with Jokic, even though I don't have a vote. So I'm going to say yes, Shea should be the MVP.
I completely agree. Shea should, and it's just because about the season that OKC's having, and he's such a big part of it. Also, I don't feel like we have this discussion enough. Why is it that Jokic gets the treatment every year of the guy that he's the best player in the world, nobody denies that, but that he wins MVP every single season, right? Isn't that the argument that we had with LeBron all those years? Why doesn't he win MVP every year? Isn't that what we said about Trout? Why doesn't he win MVP every year? It feels like Gretzky won it every year, and deservingly so. He's the greatest hockey player ever. Barry Bonds won it every year. Deservedly so, maybe the best baseball player ever. Why is it Jokic? He's an all-time great. He's the best player in the league. I just don't understand why consistently he is the favorite every single year. So, especially this year, Denver just won the title. They're having a good year. We all expected them to, but the Thunder are having a better year when we didn't expect them to do what they're doing. So, especially when you phrase the question this way, should SGA win the MVP? Absolutely, I think he should.
Yeah, like, will he win the MVP? I'm actually going to say he probably does win the MVP, though, Peach. I don't know that they're going to want to give it to Jokic. And also, is Jokic going to play all these games down the stretch? I mean, Denver just won the NBA Finals last year. Yeah, he probably will, and he probably will want to be out there. But I think that they should consider some load management. I want to see Luka win it personally, but I'm going to need Dallas probably to bump up into a top 5 seed in the Western Conference, and I don't expect that. The case I make for Luka, sure, doesn't care about the All-Star game, but he probably shouldn't because he's one of the only dudes in the league that has to lead their team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals, leads the league in scoring. So I can make the case for Luka. You can make the case for Giannis every single year, but now he has Dame. And, like, the Bucks are on their second coach this year. Are you going to give the MVP to a coach killer? Only half joking there, Paige. But, I mean, yeah, I think Shea probably should win the award. And I think he probably actually will, to be honest with you. It just depends, like, if you think what OKC is doing is sustainable. Because let's say Minnesota's the number 1 seed in the West. Do they have an MVP on that team? I don't think Ant's putting up MVP numbers. It's not going to be Towns. It's not going to obviously be Gobert. Like, the thing about the Thunder is they have the MVP. Like, they have the go-to guy that has to score 30 every night for them to win. You know, Minnesota's kind of more balanced this season. Ant's the guy in the fourth quarter, but they get scoring from everybody. So, yeah, I think that he should be, man. In the AL East, I personally like Baltimore. They're 2-1, but, man, you have Toronto at plus 475. You have the Rays at 7-1, and then the Red Sox, Boston, sitting there 13-1. Do you expect a bounce-back season for the Yankees, especially the guys in that lineup? Obviously, they add Juan Soto. Aaron Judge is plus 375, the favorite to lead the league in homers. You expecting a bounce-back season for the Yanks, or do you think that price is a little bit off?
Well, I think that's a little too high. I do expect the Yankees to be better this year. Obviously, the addition of Juan Soto makes them a much more formidable offense. You know, you can put him in front of Judge, behind Judge, you know, however you want to stack them. He makes them an awful lot better. So the offense is better. The pitching, still suspect. And we hear some rumors, too, that the Yankees are possibly interested in making that one big signing still left. Blake Snell is still available and looking for a contract, looking for a place to play. If Blake Snell happens to come to terms with the Yankees, then I think that makes them the solid favorite in the AL East. Right now, the way that things stand, I still like the Orioles. And yes, they had a great season last year, and the big difference between last year and this year for them is no Felix Bautista. They won an awful lot of close games. And for that reason, I don't think they get back to that 101 win total they had last year. They're still a very, very good team. But, you know, it's going to be, I think, a very close fight between the Yankees and Orioles. And you can't count the Blue Jays out either. And the Rays somehow managed to make a game of it every single year and make a run at the playoffs. So, again, probably the toughest division in baseball. I think so, and whoever comes out on top in that division will definitely earn it.
You talked about the Yankees maybe going after Blake Snell because of that injury to Kyle Bradish, Steve. Could you see the Orioles maybe going after another pitcher, whether it's Snell, whether it's Montgomery? We know they got a change in ownership, so might be willing to spend money than that maybe in the past they might not have.
Yeah, I think the Orioles are still the same old Orioles in that regard. They don't like to give out those free agent contracts, even though you mentioned change in ownership is coming up. It hasn't taken effect yet. And so I think the ripple effects probably not going to be felt for a while. But still, a great acquisition of Corbin Burns in the offseason. Mike Elias, the GM, did exactly what they needed him to do, you know, deal from a position of strength with all of those prospects that they had. And they were able to get a guy, you know, Corbin Burns, 1 year, it could be what pushes the Orioles over the top. I mean, if they had had an ace pitcher last year to go in game one and maybe get that division series against Texas off on a better foot, maybe things would have been different. I think he can be a difference maker in the postseason. Former Cy Young Award winner. You love to have that kind of talent at the top of your rotation. So I think they'll be a better team. May not show in the win totals, but I think if the Orioles are going to make another move, it's probably going to be closer to the trade deadline when they could, again, kind of leverage that farm system, see where they are, maybe see what they have. If Bradish is back, if John Means is back to close to 100%, maybe they don't need to add an extra pitcher.